Alright, so I wasn't really planning on another one of these, but this one kind of just came to me. So another video where I talk about something in a comic book that I think was badly handled. But after 3 weeks of DC Comics, here's something I didn't like from Marvel. And since you can already see the title, no point beating around the bush, let's talk about that time Captain America was a Nazi. During Rick Remender's Captain America run, Captain America got aged up so he was in his 90s. 2 years later, 2016, in the crossover storyline Avengers Standoff, Cap gets youthened back into a hottie with a body. This leads to 2 Captain America titles running simultaneously, since Sam Wilson had been doing Cap duty while Steve was a nonagenarian. So in Captain America Steve Rogers issue 1, all seems well until Cap throws an ally off a plane during a mission to rescue a scientist that Hydra, the Marvel Universe's successors to the Nazis, who have had alliances with well-documented Nazis like the Red Skull and Baron Strucker, wanted dead. This broke the internet. It's as if people didn't realize that the status quo gets warped all the time. Remember when Superman died? He got better. Remember when Wonder Woman lost her powers? She got better. Remember when Professor Xavier was evil? He got better. If you're mad about something, wait a few years and it'll sort itself out. This didn't bother me because I'm a cynical old man. I'm willing to accept that the Red Skull warped reality using a living version of the Cosmic Cube to make Cap believe that he joined Hydra before he even became Captain America, as long as we get an interesting story out of it, which we started to get over the course of the Captain America Steve Rogers series. Even as he threw an innocent dude out of an airplane, he clearly did not want to do that. He questions why the scientist, the comic book version of Erik Selvig from the Thor movies, couldn't have been useful, and we later see him trying to talk a suicide bomber out of killing himself. He claims he did this because he didn't want Hydra to lose such a valued agent so committed to the cause, but it's pretty clear that even with the Cosmic Cube rewriting his history, this is a Cap who still values human life. That is interesting. I wouldn't want it as an ongoing status quo. It lasted about as long as I think it should have been, but I was really liking the direction this was going. Until we got to Secret Empire, the big 2017 event where this all comes to a head with Captain America finally revealing his true colors, with the superheroic community pretty thoroughly divided and conquered. This series did a lot wrong. Nazi Captain America is able to pick up Mjolnir like it's nothing, and I know the rules for Mjolnir are super flimsy anyway. Basically, writers discard the rules whenever they want someone other than Thor to pick up the hammer. But I kinda think if a guy is part of Hydra, even if he's struggling with his loyalty, that he shouldn't be able to pick up the hammer. And that's how this big event opened. We also see characters like Original Recipe Thor and Punisher willingly working for Hydra, with others like Ant-Man spying for Hydra because his daughter is held captive, as well as other characters being mind-controlled in various ways. Which, why? We've already seen hero versus hero stuff, fairly recently even. If that's your jam, go to either of the Civil Wars in the Marvel Universe, or X-Men Schism, or Avengers vs. X-Men. When 2 superheroes fight each other, it should be a big deal, but when that's your go-to answer in these big events, it stops feeling like a big deal because it happens so often. And even if you're okay with characters being programmed or brainwashed into being on Nazi Cap's side so that it's more of an even fight when the rest of the Marvel Universe tries to fight back, you've already done the bad guy is in charge of the government and has his own guys acting as the heroes while the real good guys are underground fighting the system thing in the Dark Reign period. Norman Osborn had somehow taken over S.H.I.E.L.D. I'll be honest, I have no idea how. I was just on the fringes of that event, and he had supervillains pretending to be Avengers working for him, and even C-list heroes working for him as well, while the real heroes fought him. So Secret Empire is kind of like if Civil War and Dark Reign were smashed together, but done really badly. Because at least in those other hero versus hero events, even if it's a dumb reason they are fighting each other, you can eventually see them becoming friends again. Even if you disagree with the rationale behind the fight, you can still see bygones being bygones eventually. Even if you think one side of the argument is holding the idiot ball just so this argument can happen, eventually they will let go of the idiot ball so status quo can get back to normal. But unless a character is being mind controlled to think he's a Nazi, then I'm sorry, but having characters willingly work for Hydra is a bridge too far. Remember, these guys are the successors to the Nazi regime from World War II. I'm not the biggest Punisher fan, but he would be gunning down these guys, not willingly working for them because they said that they will bring his family back to life. Old Thor, you want your hammer back, right? Weren't you not able to hold it because you were unworthy? Do you really think holding hands with Nazis is going to make you worthy again? If you want to culminate your Steve Rogers thinks he's a Nazi story with the entire Marvel Universe fighting him, and you're concerned the teams are stacked too high against him, so you won't be able to milk almost a year of comics out of this story, then do what the comics did. Steve trapped several superheroes in space, has collateral against some of them, and the entire city of New York is trapped in darkness, with characters like Black Panther and Namor being forced to play the political game for the sake of their nations. That's plenty of chaos to keep the heroes divided against the entirety of Hydra. You don't need to contrive reasons for these guys to be on Team Cap in this story. The whole Secret Empire event is basically Captain Hydra trying to find all the broken pieces of the Cosmic Cube so that he can remake reality and fix everything for everyone, but with Hydra still being in power, and some of the heroes trying to rebuild the cube so that they can restore Cap to his former non-Hydra self. The heroes eventually succeed, but instead of the Mind Washery being undone, we see there's actually two Captain Americas. They fight, the evil one is imprisoned, and he shows up a few times before finally getting killed off. This finale felt a whole lot like the people behind the scenes realized people maybe didn't like the direction they had been going, so they had to quickly backtrack. Oh, you don't like Captain America being with Hydra? Don't worry, the Cap you like was never with Hydra. This bad guy was from an alternate reality. A lot of people didn't like Secret Empire, but I don't think this retcon that there are two Captain Americas actually solves very much of anything. You still had the Nazi picking up the hammer, which they hastily explained by saying there was magic involved, and I'm sorry, but that's not good enough. And you still had heroes working for Hydra for various reasons, and this doesn't fix that either. But for me, the most disappointing thing about this finale was that it disregarded what I found most interesting about this whole Cap is an agent of Hydra thing. That he still believes that he's doing the right thing, and that we might get to see him slowly realize he's not, and struggle with all that he's done wrong when he thought he was doing the right thing. That could have been really fascinating, and could have fueled new interesting stories diving into Cap's inner turmoil for years. Here's what I would have done. Pretty much everything up until Secret Empire you keep the same. Cap is secretly with Hydra, no other superheroes know about it, he is struggling with if everything he is doing is right, you know the drill. Then Secret Empire could be Red Skull saying, okay, we've been in the shadows this whole time, it's time to finally make our big move. And Steve can be carrying out his orders, but he's even more unsure if this is right. You can get a little hero versus Cap stuff during this story. Maybe Cap has an opportunity to kill Iron Man or Spider-Man or somebody, and he doesn't do it. Something crucial to note is this should be a Cap story through and through. The Secret Empire we got is splitting its time to the heroes in space, Black Widow wanting to kill Captain America, some of the other heroes wanting to save him. Everyone had to have their moment. But even if you throw a bunch of the other heroes into the story, this is Cap's story. Let him be the main focus. Don't split it among several characters. Finally, instead of alternate reality Cap, Hydra Cap really is the real Captain America, and he finally breaks his programming on his own and joins the superheroes in a big war against the forces of Hydra, helping turn the tide of battle. But then in the aftermath, the heroes don't trust him because he might still have some Hydra in him. Even with world-class telepaths who could dig around in his head, there's still doubt that Steve can be trusted. I think S.H.I.E.L.D. has telepaths working for them, and they didn't detect anything amiss in Steve's head in the lead-up to Secret Empire, so there's no way to know if this is some trick or if he's really back to his old self. So then you have Cap leave the Avengers. He's not involved with S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore. He's basically out on his own with the clothes on his back, trying to figure out where he stands with his ideals. He knows what he doesn't believe in, but he's trying to take his time to figure out what he does believe in. I guess for a comparison, this could kind of be like the time Superman walked across America, except I didn't read that. Didn't really have much interest in it. But here, I feel like there would be a good reason for Cap to take some time to reevaluate things in his life. You would still have him fight supervillains and stuff. This is still a superhero comic after all, but you could get a little creative with it. Let's say we put a moratorium on using Hydra in any capacity during this time. Create some new villains who can represent the doubts that Steve is facing internally. Eventually, let's say about 5 years after the conclusion of the Hydra-Steve storyline, you have some big end-of-the-world catastrophe, and we need all hands on deck to sort this out. Some people will still be iffy about putting their trust in Steve after what went down, but some of them, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, they probably had some small team-ups with him in the intervening time, and they trust him. In the midst of battle, you can have Steve pick up Mjolnir and rally the troops, and now, any questions about where Steve's loyalties lie, they've been put to rest. Similar to the movie Endgame, only superficially, as that was largely a fist-pumping heck yeah moment, where this would be more along the lines of Vision picking up the hammer in Age of Ultron. We had concerns, this is the ultimate way to put those to rest. And it would actually make sense, as you've been following Cap for like 6 years or more, struggling with if he's doing the right thing, and finally accepting that he wasn't, and then proceeding to do the actual right thing. So kind of the opposite of him picking up the hammer at the beginning of Secret Empire. Then from there, you can get back into Steve being part of the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. and rebuilding his old pre-Hydra status quo. I think this would be great. It gives you the opportunity to tease audiences with evil Cap. People sure do love their evil superheroes, but it also gives you the chance to show what works about good Cap as he gets back into that mindset. I don't know. The way this was handled was pretty bad, but I wouldn't say it broke me as a fan of Captain America. I can still go and pick up a new Captain America issue right now, and I won't be bitter or anything. But I think it would have been even better if they had done it this way. So what did you guys think of all this? Like it, hate it? Let me know what you thought in the comments below. In the meantime, I'll see you guys in the future with some other kind of video, and until then, have a good one.